Here today on Tuesday the 27th with my good friend Marci Kosich, and I can introduce you, but you probably know a lot more and can explain better than I can. And she's my good friend. She's an author of several books, and more recently a book called Theta, Theta, which I read about a year or two ago. And Marcy does Reiki healings, is a sound healer, has been doing tarot and readings and psychic readings and healings for several years. And I just want to bring her on so we can talk and have a chat about sound healing and how that's, changing the game now because it's kind of a popular thing. But for you, you've been doing it for a while. So how are you doing, Marcy?
Oh, I'm doing good. Constantly clearing out my energy, raising my vibration, raising other people's vibrations, teaching, healing, empowering.
So how did you get started in doing sound healing, and how did you discover that you have this gift? Because I don't even know if I know the story about that.
Well, the story is when I was in California, when I was 25, somebody did sound healing on me. And before that, I've been on this spiritual guidance. That's what my book is about. Everybody goes, "How did you become a psychic?" And it's just too much to explain. And so when I was 21, I went and I ended up being an au pair in Marin, California for a family. And then they took me to a channeler and I said, "What do I do?" And Titus said, "You do psychokinesis." And I said, "Well, what's that?" And it's moving and clearing energy. So my journey is incorporating my clairaudience, my clairvoyance, my clairsentience onto the people's bodies. I found out I've been a shaman for several lifetimes. When I was 28, up in Spokane, Washington, my friend Suzanne did a lot of channel drawings, and she did one of me as Little Gray Cloud, and she did one of me as White Eagle, where I was told I was a chief among 12 chiefs. And then I ended up working on, then I had my kids and moved up to Reno, and I ended up going back onto, or I started on Aranum, and I'm like, okay, I'll try experimenting with the tones because they're seeing me, but all they do is they text in, and the microphone started making noise even before I was. So I switched to a headset. So through this journey, this is all in my book as far as people that become psychic. There's a lot of journey. There's a lot of testing. So on Aranum, I had private sessions, and one was Amy, and Amy ended up channeling Elohim. These names I have never heard of before: Durga, Elohim, Metatron. If they found out they're very very powerful masters,
Yeah.
and um, when they came in through Amy full fledged, they're like, because I wanted to start an international group about 10 years ago, and they're like, "We like what you do." So for a year and a half, she channeled. So I learned a tremendous amount, and Elohim was one of the starters of the earth. And so I told them I would work with them. And so I have been working with them ever since. I've done tones on Laura. I've done tones on many people. And so as I found out, tones have been around the world for thousands and thousands of years. That's how they communicate. Everything is to do with frequency. If you have a low dark energy, which I call carbon energy, with
Hmm.
fear, shame, guilt, that's where we get diseases, which
Yeah.
is on the emotional and the mental level part of the body. And then what I do is I transmute the energy, which one of the guides or one of my lifetimes was a little gray cloud. And my friend Shauna, who's also an excellent reader, and Laura has become friends with her also, did another automatic drawing of little gray cloud with a jaguar on my head. And the jaguar is my spirit animal and is to transmute negative energy. So that was in a nutshell.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a lot. And so I've only read your Theta book, and can you briefly explain what Theta means? Because I don't think a lot of people know what that means. And then,
Well, it's the acronym. I do so many different things with the channeling, the medium. I do tarot readings, and so I compressed it. For Theta is tarot. What is it? Oh, tarot healing, energy, tones, and ascension. And as
okay,
our energy ascends, then we expand, and then our vibration rises.
but
So that's
I'm just trying to think of Theta, because isn't Theta like the state of like being like in a certain level of meditation
yeah.
also? Yeah.
Well, the whole thing is because I was abused as a child, and this is how I've gotten to rebalance myself out. But the theta is the 4 to 8 hertz in the brain. It's a dreamlight state, which kind of goes into, as Laura knows, when I do my tones, people feel relaxed. And I have on my YouTube channel under Marci Kosich my tones, and
Mhm.
people use it to feel relaxed. They've used it to fall asleep. They used it to, it's on the right side of the brain. I don't sing, I can't sing. Um, and that's the left side of the brain. And so what happens is it goes to your eighth level of your DNA where your body starts healing itself. And it
Hmm.
hits you in the serotonin part of the brain. So when I do healings on people, there's no linear to it. It's like I'll get past lives, I'll get post traumatic, I'll get inner child, I'll get different energies that will release that have been in the subconscious for lifetimes, you know, a long time. And so a lot of times our diseases carry over from lifetimes.
Yeah, and I think it's funny how they say past life readings, because or past lives, because it's all happening now, and in the in the astral and spiritual etheric realms, there really is no now, although it's all
No, yeah,
happening now. There is no time, it's out of time and space, like in quantum. So I kind of think that it should be called concurrent lives, not, past lives, like a lot of people, but a lot of
right.
people don't get that, or just don't get that deep. It's just easier to say past lives. Um, so as
I
far
like
as the
to,
theta, don't don't you have two or three other books? And if you don't mind naming them, I don't have them
no, no,
memorized. Yeah.
it's okay. I did my books around 10 years ago, and I have a group that I've started off with when we were teenagers. And some of the names I've changed, they're on my Facebook, and they reconnected with me on Facebook. This the which is we're off to be the wizards. We were like 17. There was nobody to guide us. We were abused one way or another. We were brought up in an upper class society where everybody thinks everything's perfect, but there's a lot of abuse that goes into those where it's not as noticeable. We have bigger houses, you know, things are more quiet. People are trained to be more quiet as far as what's going on. And but back then we didn't have social services. So
Hmm.
a lot of it has been my journey and my friend's journey, and Laura included, because she is now, when I wrote my book Theta, I'm like, if there's only one person, I'm happy. And it turned out to be with Laura, and Laura's not far away from me, and we see each other physically. And we've been on this journey together. And that's why it's kind of like we're off to be the wizards. I'm off to free the wizard, where my sister's my trustee and my psychological control that she had over me, and I'm off to be the wizard. So those are kind of like a little bit of the editing, and we're off to be the wizards. I'm sorry for the first few pages, but those are the journeys. I have channel drawings, I have channel writings, I have automatic drawings. My friends have their drawings in there. And so it's like if there's a group, then people understand that they're not alone. I
Hmm.
hate fake psychics, and I hate people that manipulate and control. And so this is where, if we can do this, everybody can do this. They just need to be acknowledged that they're not going crazy. So that was my passion to write these books.
Yeah, that's amazing, because you were doing this years ago, when it wasn't very, like, before the internet, before it was mainstream and YouTube, and doing tarot readings back in the 80s. And I beg to differ when you say you can't sing, because your tones are beautiful, and
The
if you
tones are
feel,
one thing.
yeah,
The
if you
singing,
feel,
I get a little tone deaf.
yeah, I mean, I get that too because I know it's different, and even different types of singing. Like opera singers can do that, but maybe they can't
Right.
do something else, and the other way around. But your singing is beautiful. Maybe we can get a sample
Thank
from
you.
you if you don't
Oh, of
mind. But
course.
yeah,
Well,
um,
what and another friend of mine that um Laura's also a friend with is Richard, and he says my lower ones are like the Aztecs. So a lot of my past lives, where if you go into Malta, you go into Ireland, you go into India, they have where we have the 442 hertzes, where our body is resonating with the earth and these sound structures. So it's been around for thousands and thousands of years that have been going on. I don't use instruments, so I have instruments. I keep my energy clear so it transfers on to the people. I've done radio shows, anybody could DM, Living and Thriving with Rusty. She's a friend of mine now. The Orion Effect with Howie. He's a friend of mine. So all these people that are psychologists, all these people like know my work is real. Laura, if I was fake, Laura would know it on a heartbeat, you know. And so it's a matter of just people know and they resonate. You know what's true for you that's going on. So I'll do some low tones and then I'll hit on some high tones. It looks like there's people already typing in.
yeah, there is. There's a few people that said hi. Someone from Trinidad. Hi, Nirmala. They say Facebook user. That just means they didn't accept the restream link. If anyone's listening and wants their name to show on the chat, just click on the restream link to have your name show up. I see Lily Rose. Hey, Lily. I know her from another spiritual group. Really nice lady. Um, and yeah, let's do it. Let's do some
All
tones.
right.
And so
Well, yeah, and basically, like the metaphor that I want to explain this is we're carbon energy. We're low, we're fear, we're shame, we're guilt. So it's like carbon, like coal, but the metaphor is anything we compress, like a diamond. Light codes come in, energy, more oxygen, where your body can start healing itself. That's why our body breaks down. It's like a physical. You go to a gym and your body breaks down. This releases the lower carbon energy with air, earth, wind, and fire. Eventually, it's fire where your body will feel a burning, and that's the Kundalini energy that's going on. So I wanted to explain that as far as what sound healing is, or at least my sound healing, because they do bowls and all that other stuff. And anyway,
no, you're totally right, and you're totally right when you say have drinks and have chocolate afterwards.
oh
You're
yeah,
yeah, you're definitely the real deal, because and not just with the tone, with
oh
everything
yeah,
psychic.
that's and that's why Laura and I have been friends now. Because I can't stand fake people, and she
Mm-mm,
can't either. And
no.
so it's just this is to teach people to empower themselves. Anyway. I'm hearing a chime like a Tibetan bell. I also, as Laura knows, I channel the masters, so Buddha will come in, Mother Mary. They don't deal with low frequency. And one of the things that Elohim had said through Amy is we test you. If you pass the test, then we give you opportunities. It has nothing to do with religion. That's a
Hmm.
man-made. And so I now have my old, if you go Google these people, they're there. Durga automatically wrote to me when I was 25 and told me I was golden light. She's now back, you know, as far as what's going on. I'm going to hit some high notes. I don't think this is going to be me. I also have in my room, I have mirrors and I have crystals. And the room is set up for the sound to bounce back and resonate on people's energy. not resonate to certain sounds, that's just your frequency. So a lot of times what my guides do is through me, they'll use me as a conduit, and we will see where the blockages are, whether it's the neck, the stomach, the energies, and help open up and let that energy flow in more. I can see Laura's getting a little bit more dizzier now.
Yeah, something happened, like some kind of crystalline thing with the high notes, like something coming through the crown. I don't know. Maybe
No,
you
it
can
is.
explain it.
Well, yeah, and that's what Richard and I were explaining. The crowd, the high notes of the cosmos. There's a thing called um, quantum entanglement, and Einstein did it. And basically, our sounds could go off into the universe. They've had tests of it, and what happens is the sounds have particles in them. They have mass in them, and so they will go off into different areas that are going on. And I can feel when I start burping, this usually people are releasing, could be Laura, it could be somebody in the audience, but it's like we're all bubbles. Our frequency is all like, if people can't hear us, they're on a different frequency than us. All right, we got Buddha that's going to come in. So, and I'm not sure if it's Laura or not. Since I'm clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairseeing, I will see, feel, and hear the energies coming out. Our bodies are like orchestras, and this is all part of the dis-ease where if one part of our body is out of tune, like a violin or anything like that, I will hear the lower sounds coming out. And then your body will rebalance and get more flowing to get more synchronization of the healing. How are you feeling, Laura?
Yeah, I don't know, kind of lighter, but kind of like floating around like a balloon.
Well, and that's what happens is it's like when I work on people, it only takes the sounds where the guides either come to you or you start going to the guides. And so it's that whole high energy that's going on. A lot of times people take naps after I do healing work. They go off on the astral, or like a couple days ago I was like in the chair going to take a nap, going to take a bath. A lot of it is all like rebalancing the energy.
Yeah, like you said, it's like a recalibration of like the magnetic, the etheric, physical, everything. Because I don't know, it just feels like almost like a little alignment, if that makes
Right.
sense. Like a,
No,
yeah.
no, that's what it is. And every time it's like my car got broken into, and then the phone was going crazy, and I had to regroup for like about a couple minutes because I'm tired of my car being broken into. But it's a lot of just readjusting
Hmm.
as far as realigning the energy, keeping myself calm, keeping it balanced. As far as it, when our body is in fear, it contracts. When our body is in love, it expands. And
Yeah.
so if you just take that like couple of minutes, regroup yourself. Oh, somebody else is coming through doing a healing. And if any of you guys want to comment on the tones or have questions, please type in. I've done many radio shows and they get a lot of people feel it. And that's where my passion is. I asked Elohim one time, and this is like 10 years ago. So now it's more awakening because I'm supposed to do this. Every time I go do one thing, they guide me on to something else. So they want to get that collective consciousness going together. And the more we can raise our frequency, then the more we can heal. And then the more energy it is for the earth and ourselves. All right. Though this one's Mother Mary.
Oh.
a vibration of unconditional love.
Wow. That one was like a lot of golden light energy.
Well, I was Mother Mary, so not surprised. Like sometimes they'll tell me who it is, sometimes it's not. But animals also love the tones. They resonate to the vibration of it. That's going on. It's just it's an amazing, and I call it the 3 rule. And Laura might understand all this. The 3 minute, 3 hour, 3 day, where a lot of times your body is healing from the outside in, or the sounds are breaking up, literally dissipating that lower energy, and then your body will get more oxygen in it, which is the light codes, and your body can heal itself.
Yeah, is that because it's a Holy Trinity number, or even like in
I
Wiccan, they use
I
three, and a lot of people like to do three, and like the
I
power of
I
threes, like Tesla says 369.
I just use the number 3. You know, it's like it could be 4, it could be 5. It's just just the vibrations of clearing out whatever the energy is, and it could be, maybe that's why I got the number 3. Sometimes I'm told things, so that would make sense.
Yeah, especially with Tesla, because you really like Tesla, right? It makes sense with the 369.
Well, Tesla's communicated with me, and he's done sound before, and he's done healing, and I've said I've got many masters coming in, and Lord asked me to do this show. I wasn't sure my state of mind because of the car, but it all worked out.
Yeah,
Got
sorry
myself
about
call.
that. Sorry
Don't worry
about your
about it.
car. Yeah.
It is what it is, and it's just moving on from there. Um, but
Maybe a
it,
transformation, your car transforms, so now you're transforming, some kind of reflection of that.
I flash on Poltergeist 2, where the native is like, "Oh, the car wants to go to you." Just try to clear the energies of it. You'll walk into a room and you'll feel the heaviness. You'll walk into a car. I had another car that I'd bought from a mechanic, and my son refused to get in it. And then it
Hmm.
turned out it had all kinds of problems in it. And he's like, "I'm not getting in it." And I'm like, "Why?" But
Yeah.
he's got that ability to know something's going on.
Oh,
So,
that's interesting. Yeah. That's like a sixth sense on an animal when they know like it is coming, or a storm is coming. Like,
well, I'm wondering if like he was in the 50s and he was with cars or something, because I don't know. He just sensed something about it and didn't want to get in. Does
yeah, might have
anybody
been
have
all.
any questions?
I don't see any. Do you see any? Um, the last one I see is just
Uh,
Lily. Lily saying yay. um, Normala Besai from Trinidad. Um,
okay. Well, I was just checking in. I mean, it's a start. The more people that we connect with, or the more that we show that's going on, then the more empowered and the more they could, heal themselves. There's astrally healing, mentally healing, physically healing, psychologically healing. There's all these different levels that people are just like, "I'm fine," and then all of a sudden their body breaks down and they're not fine.
yeah, so a question for you, being that you brought up self-healing, we're all part of Source, so I kind of see it as a way of, like, really it's all self-healing, since we're all part of Source, even though just, different fragments of Source, but still all one. Um, how can people do some of this self-healing? Do they have to be like a miraculous singer, or can they do their own
No,
tones,
well,
to
that's what I
do
was,
that?
no, that's what I'm like saying. Your body will tell it what it needs to do. I mean, my YouTube channel, I have a whole bunch of tones, and people can listen to that and they can sing along with that just don't go onto the left side of the brain with the words. Once we use the words, then it's a whole different thing. But your body can heal itself. We're not made to get diseases.
Yeah.
And like they talk about, um, the grounding, walking barefoot. People are now wearing high heeled shoes. And you and I, you're always posting me on the pharmaceutical. I mean, all these different things our body is not meant to have or do, but
No.
they just creating more and more diseases because we're getting more and more disassociated with what's going on. A walk in the woods. If you go, um, if you go listen to waterfalls, it'll be the negative and the positive ions. You know, it's the negative ions by the ocean. You go in the water, you take baths, you draw it out, you write it out, you sing it out, you dance it out, and get just don't own that energy.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially with the water in its natural state moving, not like,
Right,
it not coming out of a pipe out of our house. Like it's
right.
not
That
the
the
same effect as I'm gonna go take a shower, even though that's still cleansing in many more ways than one. More, it's not as, natural as, oh, let me go to a waterfall or let me go stand in, a natural, lake, or let me go to a. So I know about Dr. Emoto's experiments with the
oh
water and all that, but
yeah, I've got a
like
book.
so I think that's really cool. I mean, obviously we can't go bathe, especially we don't live near an ocean like us, 100 miles away from an ocean. We can't go there
Right.
all the time, but we have lakes, we have rivers. We can go out in nature. But I have a question about the one big question, I guess, this, and then we'll try to wrap it up here in a minute. But there's a lot of people doing light language, and to me, it's a go between. It's like a stepping stone to get to channeling, and that maybe they're just not there yet with the channeling, so it's not coming out in a verbal
Well,
language that we know. So what do you think about that? Because I see thousands of people on, Instagram and YouTube doing the light language and doing tones with it and light language and then singing with it. Some of them
right.
sing. I see one girl doing, and she sounds beautiful. She's a beautiful singer. She also does psychic reading, but I think it's like a stepping stone right before channeling. And so that's why they're in a light language, because I kind of did a little bit of light language, more of like almost like a Navajo type sounding thing. But then I went like straight to channeling after that. So that's why I'm saying that it's not necessarily good or bad. Just, it's just a different way to
It's
get
just
there.
different energies. I do light language. And again, it's back to our past, our present, and our future are all together. And so there'll be different aspects. When I do my light language, it'll be like, a couple of minutes. And then even if I want to physically do that, after that, I couldn't. It's like another aspect of me coming in and doing it as far as what's going on. Um, the tones are another aspect. So that's why I said we get more and more alignment, and we get more and more into, like I was watching Bashar about how to get to our future selves. And my future self has contacted me. He goes, you go, eye to eye, you see the chord, you see what the communication is that's going on. So some people will connect with the light language, some people will connect with the tones. It's just a matter of what their spirit is or what they're ready for, of whatever's going on. I do automatic drawings. I do automatic writings. I do automatic light languages. I've been this for many, many lifetimes. And so as the whole book, first book that I read, We're Off to the Wizard, is um my journey as to seeing my first spirit, my friends and I on our journey as far as what's going on. And my friend Dawn and I have been now friends for, I'm losing track. Um, I'm 60, he's 60. So, you know, 45 years.
Wow.
And we started this when we were like 16. And he has a twin brother, and the telepathy was going on. I'd have deja vus, and the more deja vus you have, the more you're on the right track. And then Dawn and I are now back to being friends. We talk about our spiritual journeys, And it's amazing. And Mary, in my first book, I lost contact with her. She's now on my Facebook, and she, it's just a matter of, it's just unbelievable. 45 years later, it's now like more accepted because Mary thought I was going nuts. I was a normal teenager.
Yeah.
And then it was like I would start hearing things. And my great aunt, when Mary and I were at my aunt's house, it was this is your Aunt Nita, and I'd go out of the other room. So I'd get all these different things that are going on. When other than that, we started off normal, or whatever you want to call normal is, and
Yeah.
just bit by bit, it's just the more we acknowledge it. But my life was pretty much everything I'd go. I have such a plethora of guides that I understand now. I know who I am now. At that point, I was just an ordinary, 16-year-old. But like I watch Medium and I love Medium because they're all based on true stories, and her kids are all psychic. And I'm like, I can see why they didn't have me all this. They waited until I was 18. The contacts, the energy. So during school or whatever it is, I wasn't, you know, expressing all that stuff.
Yeah. So you're right about that, and that it's a lot more acceptable because, like I said, there's thousands of light workers, people. I think mostly not fake ones, but there, of course, there are going to be fake ones too. Online because I just think the masses and mass of humanity are awakening, and that not only are they awakening more so these days, they're putting it on display, literally like a live,
Oh, I know,
stream.
I know.
But with good
What?
intention, and it's not easy to gain followers or even get your message out. A lot of them are doing it for free, and like giving away free healings and light language, and they're moving their hands, and some of them like to move their hands and talk it, speak it,
Well, I did
almost
that a lot
like
too. Yeah,
speaking in
I'm
tongues, like in church. It used to be that,
right,
I went to church before 20 years ago, and I was like at this church, and I see people speaking in tongues. Well, it's basically the
right.
same thing. It's not, like you said, it's not religious thing. It's source coming through, channeling through this person. And they just happen to be there in a church. That's what I think was happening. So it's a
Well,
valid experience, and
it
with the
depends.
energy.
It depends on the energy of the person. Like I don't let a lot of people touch me. I was doing a radio show with somebody, for 2 hours, and she didn't introduce me, and she was still trying to connect with me. Well, the person she was interviewing was Laura Eisenhower, and
Oh, yeah, I've seen Laura Eisenhower actually at Mount Shasta recently.
and my guides are like, don't say anything, you know,
Hmm.
and it wasn't until the last 10 minutes that I was doing the tones. I tried to friend her. She didn't want to friend me, you
Who, Laura
know.
Eisenhower, or the lady who didn't
Yeah,
introduce you?
no, Laura Eisenhower.
Hmm.
And then she started off for a little bit on doing her tone healing, whatever's going on. So I'm picky who I have in my group because there's so many psychics. Where's their energy from? What have they done to heal themselves? What is their
Hmm.
heavy energy that's going on? So all these healers, I'm like, I'm not going to go there with you. And so
Yeah.
you got to be wary on it because you energy can be transferred, dark energy, light energy, whatever it is going on. And I found out when I have to lower my vibrations, something always negative happens to me.
Yeah, there's a
uh,
reason why you're stepping down, like like a walk-in soul. And certain star seeds like us, you have to step down to get into
right.
3D. But if you're having to step down even further in the 3D, that's not a good sign.
No, and that's what I'm like saying. It's just you've got to feel your intuition on something. It's like the way that when I found out when I become friends with somebody, if I'm with people and I shut down, your body introduces yourself way before you even walk through the door. And so it's
Hmm.
already said, you don't want to deal with this person. And like Laura knows I had a job, I do home care, and the trustee's roommate, he wanted me to be friends with. I didn't want to be friends with her. I couldn't be in the same room with her.
Yeah.
I didn't sign up for any of that stuff. And
You didn't know what, you didn't know why. Well, at that point you didn't know why,
no,
but
no, well,
your
no,
body was rejecting her already before even, it's like a prejudgment, spiritual judgment.
well, no. When she would talk on the phone to the clients, I saw black.
Yeah.
I would see her, my body would just keep on walking. And then she ended up writing on care.com because I wouldn't be friends with her. He was trying to connect, and she just proved her point as to why. And
Yeah.
so if you walk away from somebody, or if you're not talking to somebody, or if you get a gut stomach ache on somebody, your body will give you the signs, because we're all like a radio dial. And if you're not matching the energy, people won't hear you, or they won't connect with you, or there's all so many ways. Verbalization is 7% of our communication. There's astral projection, there's telepathy, there's vibes, there's clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience. Your body will give all kinds of fight or flight, you know energies that
Yeah.
are going
All
on,
kinds
either
of warning signals that a lot of people ignore because when we're growing up, we're getting taught to ignore
right
those
or
things.
trained. Well, we're the
Yeah.
hunted or the hunter. And so a lot of these people that are abusive, they could sense how these people have been abused, like the wounded animal. And then they'll come off really nice, as far as what's going on. And so
Yeah.
if you get a
Love
strong
bombing. Yeah.
raw or energy or whatever's going on, or guilt trips or
Gaslighting.
shame, or yeah.
Gaslighting. Yeah.
And that's why I was brought up abused with two sisters. Oh, and I read about, I think I told you, one of my sisters is a narcopath, and my
Hmm.
other sister's a sociopath. And
Oh,
and
there
I
you go.
read the
Yeah.
and I read the narcopath. I'm like, that fits her too perfectly,
Got to know one of each to experience it, right?
Yeah, and so I've learned to see the games that people play, learn to empower, learn to whatever it is that's going on, and that's why I said that my whole passion is empowering people and
Yeah, I love that. And
taking.
you do exactly that.
Well, it's teaching all the stuff I've gone through. I'm 61 now, and I'm like, I've been doing this now for 40 years, and it's just, let's just teach people. No, I'm not going to play your games, and the more
Yeah,
we
well,
do that.
yeah, I mean, keeping these boundaries is really reflecting in our society right now too, that we need to keep our boundaries. And it's not
Oh, yeah.
just us versus the cabal, but that's a
No.
lot of it. That's a lot of it though, or that's coming out nowadays. Like a lot of these things in the cabal have been happening, as you know, for thousands of years, and it's just coming to light in a lot of ways because of the internet and the exposure and videos like
Right.
this. A lot of people awakening, especially star seeds that are leading the way on this. So I just want to say thank you for your time, and if there's anything else that you think you can mention here that might help people and their awakenings, that let them know they're not going crazy, with hearing the
Well,
voices. And
and that's why I wrote my book. You know,
yeah.
my books are on Amazon under Marci Kosich. My tones are on YouTube under Marci Kosich. You guys could DM all my radio shows. You know, because I've done like 2 hour ones, and one like a lo- with a couple of them I blew a webcam on one. Everything is frequencies. So I
And
was we
I'll
were
put
not
that's funny. Yeah,
what.
I know you're good at blowing things up with your voice, which is really
And I'm
inconvenient
not,
with tech,
yeah.
but it's it's expected when you have those high, especially the high tones. It's really expected. So I'll put your link to your YouTube
All right,
channel
if you
here. I'll
guys
add
want
it
to face,
here.
yeah,
Uh,
what I do is my Facebook is I look at the people where they're coming from, because I want people to feel safe in a safe environment where they can express themselves. So I
mhm.
delete a lot of people. It's like they start playing these games. I'm like, I don't have time for this. You know.
Do you want to do a closing tone and then call it a day
Sure.
here? Okay.
Yeah, I've cracked mirrors. You know, I'm not sure my state of mind, my phone went wacko because of me, but who knows? But I hope the tones help people, and it hits at a very deep level.
It does. And you know what they told me before, especially with your tones, they're infinite. And actually
Oh yeah,
your light language is like the musical notes coming out of you.
right,
That's what your light language is. Yeah. So
right. And all the,
you don't have to do them with your hands because they're coming out as sound. You also
I
don't
just
have to
move my
speak
hands
them because
anyway.
yeah, I mean, well that helps too. It's probably just your body naturally, flowing the
Well,
energy. But
well, and our hands are all, but sometimes I do hands-on healing. People
mhm.
will see gold coming out. Raven would see, gold coming out when I do my tones. So these people do see, feel, and hear. But if you get instant stomach ache, you need to shut down wherever you're at and just run.
Yeah, you're right. And actually, I've seen the gold come in, and I've had the black leave when you were doing hands-on in person or online healing. Other things, and then another cool thing I just want to say in closing. You said something cool the other day about using your intuition. If you get an immediate
Oh,
yes on your intuition, it's a yes. But if you have to think and kind of like lukewarm, I don't want to do. Yes, I do. No, I don't. Then it's a no. So explain how you came to that conclusion. Is that just spiritual
well,
knowledge or?
Well, no, actually somebody told me that when I was like 20, and I didn't listen. And even like I was going to go to the Bay Area, like I was telling Laura, because that's where I'm from. And I'm like, I'm 50-50 on it. I ended up starting a new job, and then I ended up doing a 12-hour shift. Um, yeah, my car got broken into, but that's just minor. But it's just, and then once I decided not to, then I was at peace.
Yeah.
So if you're still feeling a pull, like something that's going on, but yeah, go on your instincts. And I was in the 89 earthquake, and I was at a street corner, and this is where I've learned I go second by second, minute by minute, because things constantly change. I was trying to decide right before the earthquake which direction to go. I went to my house, or the apartment in Berkeley I lived in, and then the earthquake happened. But I constantly, like, I'm almost at a stop sign, and I'm like, do I want to go this direction? And I kind of like did this with the gas right before all this stuff happened. I wanted to see how much, and I was kind of like hesitant. So every time you have to think about something, it's almost like there's something else coming
Hmm.
that's not there yet,
Yeah.
whether it's good
Like
or bad.
Yeah, like a little warning sign that this is coming, whatever it is, good or
Yeah.
bad. Yeah.
So if that helps everybody learn and grow and heal, that's great.
Thank you so much. I'll leave your
Uh,
YouTube channel link and see if I think I can find your book link too on Amazon,
yeah,
and I'll put those links.
and I'm also like on a couple of the psychic lines. The me, then she's got dot. I've done a couple readings on that one. Not that me we, but a different me we. You
Hmm.
know, but it's all good, and hopefully this will help somebody from whatever it's meant to help.
Thank you for
All right,
sharing your
guys.
tones. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.